Good evening, everybody, and welcome. You can't see me at the moment, but you will be able to do in a moment. I'm supposed to be moving into my new room. I keep going on about it. Am I there already? Well, let's have a look. Am I heck? Oh, this is so frustrating. I'm still stuck in my room. I'm trying to get moved. Conveyancing solicitors are not my favourite people at the moment. They are really getting on my wick. So I'm still in my room for now. You can see all my CDs are completely packed up. They are all in boxes. So I've had to try and dress the room a little bit. Got a few albums out, but I'm just itching to get out of here, and so frustrating. So hello everybody who's here so far. Thank you for joining me. Have we got anything in? Hello Anthony, Seal Decker, Tyrone, Ruby, Pepper Chips, Andrew, Oliver. Hi. You all? What's this Andrew saying? You had a bad fall this morning. You've damaged your back. Oh heck. Well, you're thrilled to have an evening of Beatles chat, Jamie. I hope we can do you justice. I hope you're better soon, Andrew. Yeah. So, yes, here I am. I'm frustrated as heck. I'm stressed to buggery, as they say. Well, as nobody says, really. And I just want to get my new room set up. My new nice big room, and it's just not happening. But there we go. Here we are. There's no football tonight. I thought I'll do this tonight while there's no football on. What I didn't realise was Andy Murray's on, and I always watch Andy Murray at Wimbledon. So if anybody can give me Andy Murray updates, I know he's not doing very well at the moment. I would very much appreciate that. But let's just have a chat. Let's see what comes along. I'm expecting that no doubt the usual suspects will be on discussion tonight. What have we got? We're still very much in Let It Be / Get Back mood. All things must pass, all that kind of thing. So anything that you've got that you want to talk about, ask, discuss, vent, let me know. And we will try and get through as much as we can over the next hour or so. It'd be lovely if you can spend a bit of time doing this. But cheers, everybody, by the way. I'm having a little beer tonight. I'm a bit red, aren't I? It's very warm here today. Hello, everybody. All the hellos coming through. Harry, you prefer the news background, or do you mean new background? Yeah, unfortunately, it's not very logistical, isn't that? In that you can't give that much space to about 12 albums. You'd need a room the size of Wembley Stadium to put everything in. So yeah, Mike, you were distracted by the tennis. Yeah, I was following it earlier on. I do need to know how it's going because I do like to follow Mr. Murray. The Euros have been interesting, haven't they, Gerard? They blooming certainly have. Yeah, it's all warming up nicely. Hi, Maximo from Argentina. Brilliant. So, they're closing the roof. Yeah, closing the roof. It was getting a bit dark, wasn't it? Anyway. They're closing the roof on Centre Court. That came through in my head as like that scanned with they're changing the guards at Buckingham Palace. Anyway, I'm just talking nonsense at the moment. Shall we get started? Lee, do you have any updates on the Let It Be reissues release? It's all pretty quiet in terms of news. I've not heard much at all, other than kind of what's out there. It's all still very much really unknown what they're going to do in terms of various things, but a package like we've had over the last few years for Sgt. Pepper onwards. When's that going to be? Is it going to kind of tie in with the Peter Jackson movie, maybe just before, just after, in time for Christmas, or is that going to be delayed until next year? Really don't know at the moment. There's not a lot of information flying around at all on that. I think since I last did my last one of these a couple of weeks ago, I've been continuously seeing. I might upset some people here, but I've got to say this. Continuously sort of seeing people saying that they think it's Disney Plus or nothing. Well, yes, Disney Plus have got this exclusivity. What's it called? It's the exclusive debut. But I'm absolutely convinced, and you can shove these words down my throat, there is no way that the deal that Apple have struck with Disney doesn't allow for them to release it physically later on. Absolutely not a chance. And Disney Plus, you may or may not like it, but subscribe for a month. It's about £7-8, similar amount of dollars. You've got 6 hours worth of Beatles stuff there. It's cheaper than a cinema ticket, and then cancel. It's I think there's a lot of barriers being put up by people here to them not thinking that they can't watch it. Where I don't think that there need to be barriers. It's doable. I think if somebody wants to do it, that's what I think anyway on that. Phil Mulliner, hello Phil. You Discover charged my credit card before they shipped the Uber set. Amazon don't do that. Yeah, well, I think You Discover might have changed. Have they changed their approach to it? Because they did have a bit of an issue. I had an issue certainly with them a couple of years ago on one of the archive sets where I put my credit card details in to order it, and then in the sort of...
I don't know that one.
Sorry, my tablet's just thought I said a key word there and it's fired up. It took my credit card details, and then in the meantime my credit card expired and I got a new one, and the transaction failed, and it was a right mess. So maybe they're doing that to stop people's transactions failing at the time that it gets released. I don't know. RoboTube, exactly. Apple's too smart to let all of those DVD download sales go by. Absolutely. You know, Disney will have exclusivity on this, and it might be 6 months, it might be 3 months, it might be a month. We don't know. But at the end of that, this is coming out on DVD, Blu-ray. Don't you worry about that. Hey, Stuart, my friend Stuart saying, how you doing? Yes, Stuart's ordered the Charlatans self-titled classic on yellow vinyl. 150 quid is it for an original? I thought that was really good value at 25 quid. So I think I'm going to get that as well, Stuart. I think definitely we'll have a virtual session on that when that comes out, me and you. So what else have we got? Lee's saying a couple of weeks back, Super Deluxe Editions Paul was posting that it's not going to be available till 2022. Is that the DVD Blu-ray of the Get Back film that you're talking about? I presume. Fair enough. Yeah. I think it's likely that's going to be next year to actually buy it. Gerard says, Andrew, did you happen to see or hear John Heaton's video he did yesterday about Whitlock and the Harrison All Things Must Pass release? Oh my goodness, yes. That is something I am definitely going to be talking about later on tonight. But in the meantime, what I will say is, John Heaton, if you're out there, if you're watching, that was awesome. That was really, really good video that you did there. I thought that was brilliant what you said, and we will definitely cover it. I cannot talk in any depth on that subject compared to what John can talk about. He knows far more about that subject than I do, but I will definitely talk about that at some point tonight. Stuart's loving the Autobahn. Where's my Autobahn? Yeah, there. I still haven't played it, Stuart. I'm waiting for you to let me know when you want us to play it together virtually, and I'm on for it anytime. So, yes, in terms of the original question was Let It Be, so I think, yeah, it looks like probably to buy the new film, maybe next year. We don't quite know anything about the box sets yet. I did get asked, I put a message out yesterday on YouTube and on Twitter saying I was going to be doing this live stream, and was there anything in particular that people wanted to talk about? And I got a few things back. Thank you. And one of them was around what kind of things did I want to see in the new Peter Jackson film. So thank you. I can't remember who asked that question, but thank you, whoever it was. And I made a few notes about just a few things that I definitely did want to see in there. And one of them is I'd love to see a full version, or as full as there is available, of that rockier version of Two of Us, because I really love that version. I think that's I'd love that to be on one of the CDs as well when a box set comes out, because I think that's a brilliant version. One thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing that we kind of do know is going to be in there is the aftermath of the Paul and George, well, I'll play whatever you want me to, or I won't play at all. Whatever it is that'll please you, I'll do it. They've already said that what happened after that, which apparently kind of diffuses the situation quite a bit, that is going to be in the new Peter Jackson film. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I'm hoping that there's some footage in there around about the period of when George left the band for a few days. It was kind of either side of a weekend. It was just before the weekend started. I think they had some meetings, maybe at was it John or Ringo's house over the weekend, and then George was off for another 2 or 3 days before he came back. So I'm hoping that that's covered. I don't think we'll see the moment when George actually got up and walked out, because I believe it was kind of a lunchtime thing, so they probably weren't filming at the time. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing that, if there's any of that in there. And also the day before they did the rooftop gig, they went and did like a sort of a recce on the rooftop to sort of suss it out, and there's a few photos of that, of sort of Paul pointing in various directions up on the roof of what he was wanting. So it'd be great if there was some video of that included as well. Did I hear right? I think did somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard something about that there was going to be a thing in the movie, more sort of footage of the police entering the building. I don't mean Sting and his mates, the fuzz entering the building and sort of making their way through and going up to the rooftop. So that would be good to see any more of that there is as well. That's kind of all I have to say about Let It Be at the moment, but if anybody else has got anything else, let me know, and let's discuss that as well. Let me catch up with the chat for a moment and see what's going on. Sheffield and Beyond, this is an interesting and quite timely question. Do you go for original vinyl pressings, or do you not mind repress? Well, it's interesting because Stuart, who's on the chat, I was round at Stuart's house last Friday night, and we were doing a few original pressings. We did an original pressing of Band on the Run, sounded fantastic. And that kind of got me thinking, oh, God, I need that. And actually, in the meantime, since, I've been on Discogs and I've ordered original pressings of Tug of War and Pipes of Peace, which I got for about £11 in supposedly fantastic condition. I was hoping they would have arrived today and then I could have shown them off, but they haven't arrived yet. Maybe tomorrow. And but then we also did an original pressing of Stevie Wonder Songs in the Key of Life, and we listened to a remastered version, and the remaster blew away the original version. So, it's kind of swings and roundabouts. But I'm starting to think more about looking into what versions of vinyl records I'm getting, and if there's an original pressing that's supposed to be great, then I'm certainly happy to look at that, definitely. What else have we got? Michael, am I getting the new Linda McCartney cookbook that just came out? Probably not. I love to eat meat, and I don't think there'll be much of that in there. I don't think I'm getting it, but you never know. You never know. If I hear good things about it, I might do. But like a lot of people, I've got about 20 cookbooks in the house, and I never look at any of those. So it's whether I want to make it 21 or not. Anthony, am I planning any trips to Liverpool this year, or am I going to wait until the Casbah rooms are ready? I haven't got any plans. I'd love to get a Liverpool trip in. That would be great. I'm certain I am going to go when the Casbah's ready and they finish the conversions. I'm definitely going to book a room and go and have maybe a couple of nights there. That would be great. But I have no Liverpool plans. I also want to go to Hamburg. Has anybody been to Hamburg on a Beatles trip? Let me know. I'd love to see your comments on that, because I'm not massively sure whether there's loads of Beatles related things to do and see, or has it all been knocked down and you can't see any of it anymore? I don't know. So I have no plans for Liverpool, but I would like to get there if I can. Hi Graham. Graham says, where did you get the 1985 album? I'm having trouble finding it. That's that one there. Well, there's a story there, Graham. So when it first was announced, and what was it, about 5 years ago or something like that, it had been on sale for quite a while, a good sort of couple of weeks or so, and it was in no signs of selling out at all. It was perfectly available at your leisure. There was no rush. So I ordered a copy for about, I think it was about £10. And not long after I ordered it, it became apparent that this was, while it's not, I don't think it's an official McCartney release, it was certainly an authorised release, and his name was allowed to be sort of officially on it. And at that point, suddenly, it sold out immediately. So I'd already got my order in when nobody was interested in buying the thing. And it arrived, and all of a sudden nobody could get hold of it. So I thought, well, I'm not that bothered about having it, to be honest, if that's the case. So I put it on eBay thinking I'll get my £10 back. And it went for £220. Do you know, I was so guilty that I ticked the box on eBay to say donate 10% to charity, because I was just expecting to get my money back, and it just went, boo, £220. Oh, flipping heck. So anyway, I had that money. Then they released it as, they did a digital download of it for about, I think it was like 99p a track on iTunes, so I got that. And then they went and re-released it on vinyl. A big reissue, and again I bought it back for about £10, so I've got exactly the same thing as far as I know, that I bought for a tenner, sold for 220, and then bought it back for a tenner again. So I'm quite happy with that. As to where I got it from, your original question, I can't remember. I think it was just, I think that version that I've got now, I think was just off Amazon. So whether or not you can get it now, I don't know, but it's good actually. The last time I played it was, I've not played it very often, but the last time I played it, I was halfway through the first remix before I realised that my record player was on 33 and it was supposed to be played at 45. I just thought it was like a real, no one ever lived alive in 1980. I didn't realise it was supposed to be on 45. Flicked the switch and it was like, well, no one ever lived alive. Oh well. So yeah, that's my story of my 1985 album up there. It's good though. So what else have we got here? I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the chat, just because I want to be answering questions that have been recently asked. And again, like I always say, if I've missed yours out, apologies. Ask it again, and I'll try and get to it. Very rarely am I deliberately ignoring somebody's question. Very rarely. You've really got to wind me up to do for me to do that. So anyway, I'm going to go back down towards the. Chicken is not beef. I don't know the context of that. I say I considered vegetarianism today until I had 2 chicken burgers. Can I tell you a quick story? I used to work with a guy who was a strict vegan. He worked on the desk behind me. I got in early one morning, unusually early, and he's there tucking into a bacon sandwich that he'd got from the canteen. And I said, "What's going on? You're supposed to be a vegan." He said, "Yeah, it's just bacon though. I can't resist it." So, well, there you go. Matthew, hello. A bit of a random one, but what's your favourite performance from the concert for George? That is a good question. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just because thinking on my feet here is not my strong point at the moment. I'm just going to pull up my concert for George in iTunes, and then I will be able to tell you the ones that I've played most often. It's certainly going to be Joe Brown. With his I'll See You in My Dreams, that's for sure. The other ones that I can see that I've played a lot, If I Needed Someone by Eric Clapton, Beware of Darkness by Eric Clapton, and actually the Eric Clapton version on Concert for George has helped me to have a better appreciation for Beware of Darkness on All Things Must Pass, as often happens to me with cover versions. Joe Brown's Here Comes the Sun, then Paul doing For You Blue and All Things Must Pass. But yeah, the one that I've listened to the most is definitely I'll See You in My Dreams right at the end by Joe Brown. Brilliant stuff. So, where are we? Again, I'm going to go down towards the bottom. Anthony, yours is also I'll See You in My Dreams. Excellent. Good. Am I getting the... Hi, Claire. Am I collecting the collector's edition of the remastered Back to the Light by Brian May? Probably not. I've never really delved into Brian May's solo career. I remember in the early 90s after Freddie passed away, he did that one that was on the car advert, wasn't it? Like Everything We Do Is Driven By You or something. Was it Too Much Love Will Kill You as well? And I kind of had a couple of those on Now albums, but I've never really investigated his solo career, to be honest. Oh, Sai goes in for the big question. Who does the better box set? Lennon or McCartney? I think we discussed this in length on a previous live stream a few weeks ago, and I kind of went with McCartney in there, but Lennon up there. And I mean up there in terms of the sort of logicalness of the pricing structure and the uniformity of the boxes, I think is what I meant. But the emotional attachment to the McCartney ones is more than it is to Lennon. So it's kind of that's a coward's way out of an answer, is that? But it's kind of a two-way thing, really. There's pros and cons to both, definitely. Oh, Anthony, I know what you're referring to there. We had a little chat about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Anthony went to the Beatles Museum on Matthew Street in Liverpool for the first time, didn't you? That's run by Rogue Best, Pete Best's brother, son of Neil Aspinall. And there's lots of fantastic things in there, but one of them that kind of made me go a bit woohoo when I saw it, and I took a photograph of it, was... there's a roll of film, obviously the old style roll of films that are like in a little cylindrical tube about that size. There's a roll of film on a stand in a display cabinet, and it just says, this is a roll of film of John Lennon taken by Neil Aspinall in 1965, and it's never been developed. We have no idea what's on this roll of film. We may get it developed one day. I just think, wow, what could be on that? Could what's on that live up to the sort of excitement of what's on it? I don't know, but there could be literally anything on there. So, yeah, it'd be great to see that sometime. Even if it's a really dull set of photographs, it would be great. The history behind that roll of film would be interesting. I don't like chicken, it's foul. The jokes are flowing tonight, folks. Brilliant. Macca box sets don't include Blu-ray audio, a big negative. No, they do, and I know a lot of people don't like the downloads, but they do have the downloads of the high-res. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts again a little bit, I think. And I think for me, and I know this won't be the case for everybody, they're more accessible as downloads because they're very, very easy for me to get into my music library and for me to play through my system. The Blu-rays, I can play them through my system, but they're such a pain to rip. It can be done, and I have done it with some of them, but it's a pain. So personally, I kind of prefer how easy the downloads are to deal with, rather than the Blu-rays. But I get that it's what's easy for one person, the opposite's going to be easy for somebody else. Good songs. Just curious, since you're here, I am here. You have a favourite Oasis album. Just listened to Morning Glory for the first time, and it's amazing. I did was it the first video? The very first video that I did on my YouTube channel, the first music video anyway, was ranking the Oasis albums. Terrible video, awful video, but I might redo that someday. But what did I put as? I think I put Morning Glory as number one. It was, it's Morning Glory or it's definitely Maybe. They're both classics in very different ways, but I think Morning Glory for the impact it has for anybody who was kind of my age or up to 10 years younger and a bit older, who was around in the UK at that time. You can't really overstate how the impact that Oasis had. It was incredible, and that was all round the Morning Glory album was what really kicked that off. So I think for that, it's that was the reason I went with Morning Glory. What is the 1985 album, says Andrew? Okay, well, that's a fair question. Let me I'll get it down. We'll have a look. So, let's get you a bit of a close-up of the cover. Try not to let the light shine too brightly on it. So you can see a young Macca there. That doesn't look like a Band on the Run era Macca to me. That looks more like, I don't know, 67 Magical Mystery Tour era? I don't know. What do you think on that? When do you think that photograph of Paul is from? It looks to me like Magical Mystery Tour era. But anyway, what it is, let me show you this. Oh, it's difficult when it's white because I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Just for a moment, I'm going to turn my studio light off. Everything's going to go dark, but you might be able to see this better. There you go. So it's remixes of the song 1985. With Paul McCartney and Wings, with Timo Mass and James Teague. And you've got various remixes there. I'll put my light back on now. There we go. It just messes up. You can't see anything that's white when that light's on. So yeah, it's remixes of 1985. But like I say, it turned out that not a lot. Well, a couple of weeks or so after this went available for pre-order, that it kind of got found out that it was sort of official. I mean, I don't think you'll see it on a list of official Paul McCartney releases, but it's kind of an authorised thing by his camp. So yeah, that's what that is. So where are we? Izzy, hi Izzy. Oasis was huge. Went to see them live back in the day, but my friends preferred Blur. Well, you had to be Oasis or Blur, but you didn't have to be Oasis or Blur. I'm going to disagree with myself immediately there. It was fine to be both, you know. Myself and a lot of people that I know were huge fans of both bands. So where did you see them, Izzy? So I saw them, I think it's 4 times. I was at Nebworth, second day of Nebworth. That was the first time I saw them. Saw them at Newcastle Arena, 97 on the Be Here Now tour. I saw them at Bolton Reebok Stadium, as it was then in 99, on the Standing on the Shoulder of Giants tour. And then I saw them again in Newcastle 2005 on the Don't Believe the Truth tour. And then I've seen Noel solo live a few times, been to see Liam and BDI. So, yeah, love them. Brilliant. Martin, hello Martin. What All Things Must Pass will you be buying? I have got ordered the green and black splatter vinyl, which looks very nice. I see they've started promoting that in the last couple of days again. I've also ordered the CD box set, which we're still waiting for some sort of official video that shows like an unboxing. Not like an unboxing like I do an unboxing when thing arrives in the post, but you know, like when McCartney announces an archive collection, they do like an official video that shows everything flying out of the box, and there's everything, because we need to see how big that box is. It would appear that it's hard to tell for scale, but inside there is a sealed Beatles Christmas singles record box. So that's kind of 7-inch single size, just a bit bigger. And if Amazon are correct, then it's about that size. So it's not as big as the Lennon boxes. It's not as big as that Magical Mystery Tour box or a McCartney box, but it's better than CD size. But we need that confirming, really. So I've ordered that. I've also, going back to what I just said a few minutes ago about what a pain in the backside it is getting high-res versions off Blu-ray, although it can be done, and I have done it before, but it's a pain. I've ordered a high-res download as well. I figured that it was worth the outlay for me not to have the hassle of trying to rip the Blu-ray. So they're the ones that I've ordered at the moment. I'm hoping that fairly soon. It's all kind of new to us with the George release thing, because this is hopefully the first of many. We don't know what their kind of schedule and template for a release is going to be, but if it follows anything like the Lennon ones, it might be that we might soon start seeing some people getting some and being able to unbox them so we can see them. So whether that's going to happen soon or not, because we're not far off a month short, and it was about a month before Plastic Ono Band when I got mine sent and I was able to show it. So whether anybody's going to get any beforehand in a similar way, I don't know. But we will see. What else have we got? What's my thoughts on the pricing of All Things Must Pass? Oh, you've got lucky there, Martin. I've just done two in a row of yours, I've just realised. What's my thoughts on the pricing? I think I want to reserve my judgment until I've seen the CD box. Because if they've done it really, really nice, and it looks like a really quality item, then I might be able to say I'm happy with the price. If they've not really gone to town on a box of that size that we think it is, then it would be disappointing. So I kind of want to reserve my judgment until I've seen it. The Uber box, I don't give a toss about the price of the Uber box. I've said this before. I think that the things like the Uber box, the main thing I'm concerned is that they don't put extra music in that isn't available to other people, and they're not doing. And to me, they can charge what the heck they like for it. That's entirely up to people whether they've got the need to buy that or not. And if you have, brilliant, love it and enjoy it. But they're not forcing people to buy anything that size to get the music. It's trinkets and such like. And I think Mazzy, a lot of you will know Mazzy, his videos. He said it best a few weeks ago. He did a fantastic rant about people. It was more to do with people's reaction to All Things Must Pass than All Things Must Pass itself. And he was sort of saying about how, George Harrison had no problem in 1980 putting out a Genesis book that was hundreds of pounds. So people saying that, George, he would be turning in his grave, living in the material world. George Harrison would have had no problem with this, I don't think. So I don't care what they do with the Uber edition, as long as they don't put extra music in it. But it does look nice, doesn't it? I'd love to have one of those if they ever drastically reduce the price. Anthony, has Paul ditched the vinyl reissue campaign, do you think? I really hope not. I really, really hope not. I just hope it's been a case of other things have got in the way and taken priority. So obviously we've had, if I remember rightly, tell me folks if I'm wrong, I think that was the last vinyl reissue to come out. And there's probably something else at the same time as it, I can't remember now, which would be July of 2019, so 2 years ago, since we've had a vinyl reissue. And I think with Flaming Pie, with COVID, with suddenly realising there's a market for half-speed remasters for a 50th anniversary, I think other things have got in the way. But exactly like you say, Memory Almost is a perfect way to get out Memory Almost Full, Driving Rain, maybe some classical albums, Twin Freaks. There's all sorts of things. The fact that we got that Amoeba gig, nobody would have predicted in advance that was going to come. So who knows what else that could open up. So I really hope he hasn't. And if I was going to guess, I guess he hasn't. I would love to think that it's just that other things have got in the way. And if there's no archive collection coming towards the end of this year, surely that's got to be a perfect time to bang out another 2 or 3 vinyl reissues. So that's my thoughts on that anyway. Right, what else have we got? Yeah, Martin, George would have been behind this. Well, I don't know whether I'd call it a sham. That's up to you. But I think he would have been. I don't think he would have had any qualms about doing this. I mean, let's not forget that it's suggested that one of the main reasons why the anthology happened is because George needed the money. That's long been suggested. So George Harrison was not against earning money in any way. Yes, Knock Knock Mazzy's rant on the Uber edition controversy was great. It was brilliant. As was, all right, let's lead into that. That's a bit of a lead in, is that, to a question that was asked earlier, and I said I'd come back to it. So Mazzy's rant was brilliant, as was John Heaton's yesterday. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, his video that he did yesterday. I think there's a little bit more information come out since then, though. So I would certainly recommend after this, if you've not seen it, John Heaton's video yesterday about All Things Must Pass was really good. And it all boils down to an area that I must admit is I can't talk about for long because I'm going to be the first to admit I don't really know a lot about it. And it's this whole Bobby Whitlock thing. So being one of the main musicians on All Things Must Pass, and Bobby Whitlock released a video on his YouTube channel, probably, a couple of weeks or so ago, something like that. And I'm a bit annoyed with myself because I'd heard it was there. I'd seen it, it cropped up on my suggestions a couple of times, and it was one of those where I thought, oh, I'll get around to watching that soon, and I didn't, and it's gone. It's been pulled from YouTube, and there's been a bit of an outcry about this, about why it's been pulled. So it was basically sort of him talking about his memories of making All Things Must Pass, and so I believe, because like I said, I didn't see the video, but my understanding is it didn't contain any copyrighted material or sort of any defamation or anything that should have got anybody too upset. But it got pulled, and it's been suggested, well, who might have pulled it? It must have been the Harrison camp, mustn't it? And it's caused a lot of anger from what I've seen. And from something that I read earlier on, and I think Mazzy might have been involved in this conversation that I heard earlier on, that that video will be back. That it's a temporary thing until the All Things Must Pass box set is out, and that video may well be back. So I think it's kind of a thing where he'd maybe done something a bit earlier than he should have done, or something like that. But it sounds like it's maybe not the controversy that it looked like it was, potentially. But still, I thought John Heaton made a fantastic video on it and talked as eloquently as he always does on the subject. And it was another reminder of, well, I bow to his knowledge on so many things, and this was another occasion, definitely. So yeah, that's, as Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that. Graham, original stereo pressing of Please Please Me, 11 grand. Well, it's weird you should say that, because when we were talking earlier on about original pressings and that, I did just for a laugh type in Please Please Me into Discogs and filtered it down to 1963 UK pressings in mint condition, and they were like thousands of pounds. So wow. Yeah, it's amazing what some of those albums can go for. I think I mentioned this before, but I was lucky enough to be in a room in the back room of a pub with about 30 people a couple of years ago. One of them was Mark Lewison, and he was doing a talk, and his talk was around the year 1963 and the With the Beatles era. And a brilliant talk, as you would imagine, because nobody in the world knows more about that subject than he does. And the sort of climax of the night, after he'd signed my tune-in books, was an original 1963 pressing of With the Beatles was played through the pub PA system to this room of 30 of us, and Mark Lewison sat sort of 5 yards away, and so that was great, and it sounded fantastic, brilliant. Good question from Matthew Mega. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. How much cooperation is there between the four estates, and is it usually in good spirits? I've noticed you mentioned before about the estates timing releases around each other. I get this is very much my sort of interpretation of what I've seen happen over the years, and anybody else can see the same things I can see. That I think for major releases, I think they do cooperate a lot with each other. So, you know, if you take, for example, Plastic Ono Band coming out earlier on this year, that got its moment in the sun. It got its release, and then it had sort of a week or two afterwards, at least, where before anything about All Things Must Pass. I think All Things Must Pass was supposed to be announced earlier than it was. I believe there was a delay, but even so, All Things Must Pass would have given Plastic Ono Band a clear week or two after its release. So major things like that they do, but things like if Ringo's going to bring out an EP that costs £7, that's not going to get in the way of anything. If Paul's bringing out a Hey Granddude in autumn, September, October, whenever it is, that's not going to get in the way of anything. But if Paul's going to bring out, let's say, a London Town Back to the Egg archive collection, you can bet he knows he's got a window when he's not competing with a major Beatles product. I think the big exception was 2018. The autumn of 2018 was crazy because we had, in a really short space of time, even though I still think they managed to give each other space, but it was so tightly packed, we had the John Lennon Imagine set, we had the Beatles White Album, and then we had the Red Rose Speedway Wildlife Big Barn Box thing, and they all came out within about 2.5 months of each other. But I think they still gave themselves some space, but that was about as tightly packed as I've ever seen it for major releases anyway. Stuart, Back to the Egg archive needed. Yeah, I mean, I've said several times, Back to the Egg is one of my least favourite Paul McCartney albums. I find it a bit of a slog, even though I like a lot of the songs that are on it. But I would love the chance to reappraise it. Like, I never had a great opinion of Pipes of Peace until the archive came out, and I learned to love it a lot more. So definitely, let's get it out. Mark says, "Are you okay, Andrew? You look very serious tonight." Do I? I'm just generally not very happy at the moment because I'm just being messed around so much. Life is all over the place. So I'll try and cheer up a bit. Anybody in the meantime, can somebody let me know how the Andy Murray match is going? Is he still playing, or has he been beaten yet? Right, I'm going to go back down near the bottom anyway. Anthony says, "Am I looking forward to the Nebworth film? I think Noel said in an interview you'll be able to buy other gigs as well. I didn't know that. That's good. Maybe they will release Main Road, GMX as well. That would be good." I'm very much looking forward to the Nebworth film. I don't know how it's going to be distributed yet. If there's a cinema release of it, I'm there. I'm definitely going. I'd love to see it on a big screen because I want to see if I can. I'm sure it won't go in close enough that I'll be able to sort of say, "That's me." But I do know when you see the aerial shots, I do know exactly where I was in that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That would be great. Seal Decker, Andrew, do you know if the splattered vinyl is limited edition and the Uber box set? So the splattered vinyl, I think, was the only product that specifically used the word limited edition. So it definitely is, but I've not seen anything to say how limited. I must be honest, I thought it would have sold out by now. I'm surprised it's still available. Maybe that's why they started advertising it again in the last couple of days. The Uber box set, not officially heard anything, but all the rumours seem to suggest that it's 3,000, which is a lot. That's a lot of them to sell. So I don't know whether that will sell out. I mean, you look at the huge Flaming Pie box, the collector's edition, that's still not sold out. There's still, I believe, a few hundred of those left. So I don't know. The Uber box, I mean, how soon do you start discounting it without really annoying people who've paid out sort of best part of $1,000 for it? Because that's a balancing act as well. Murray's won the 4th set. Thank you, Anthony. That's good. We're into a 5th on centre court. Well, I've hit record, so I'll probably go and watch the end of it once we've finished this. Sheffield and Beyond. What area of Bob's career do you want to see a bootleg series on? Well, I think they've kind of done the early 60s to death, but the kind of coffee shop era, that really early New York coffee shop era, would be nice to get something from that, because I've got some bootleg MP3s where I think he's kind of been interviewed in a coffee shop and then doing some songs in between. Is it called Almost Went to See Elvis or something like that? And that's really good. So maybe that would be nice. I'd like to see some recent live stuff, because I know he changes the songs up so much that it's almost impossible to figure out what the heck song he's singing sometimes. But it would be good to see what, maybe like from the last 20 years, maybe from the millennium onwards, of a live set. That would be good. That would be interesting. What else have we got? I hope we get his 90s albums in a vinyl reissue. Well, in terms of vinyl albums, I'm hoping that we still get something like Off the Ground as an archive collection. That would be great. But then other 90s albums, I think things like, well, we've had Paulie's Live, haven't we? Tripping the Life Fantastic. I know some people say we may well get an archive collection of Tripping the Life Fantastic. I'm not sure that'll happen. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know, folks. Do you think we'll get a Tripping the Life Fantastic Archive edition? I'm not sure. It's possible, I guess. I just don't see the archive collection going beyond sort of Flaming Pie chronologically, not during Paul's lifetime anyway, because I think Linda's such an integral part of everything in this archive collection. It's almost like the Paul and Linda story as much as anything. And I don't see him going beyond that. I mean, maybe in years to come, then maybe everything will come. Then we'll see. Jonas, thoughts on Pete Best's sacking? What? Well, I think the main thing on that is really that in the Tune In books, I've not packed it away yet. In here, the greatest Beatles books ever written, that goes into so much depth about Pete Best's sacking, the reasons behind it, the fact that Brian Epstein was trying very hard as well to not get taken to court over it, and the things that he did to try and prevent that is really interesting. I think who was it who said in the anthology? Was it George? I can't remember now. Who said something like, it's very clear that Ringo was the drummer of the Beatles. He just didn't enter the story until that later point. And Ringo was the only member of the Beatles to be specifically headhunted. And that's not coincidence. That's because he was the best. He wasn't Pete Best. He was the best in the area at what he did. And they wanted him. They needed him to take them to that level that they were striving to get to. So I think it's tough on Pete. Pete's a lovely guy, it would seem. And thankfully he's had a long life and a lot of a happy life eventually. But I think Ringo's the man, and history shows that was the right decision. Ruby, how's my house move going? I'm still here. That's how it's going. It's a disaster, basically. It's still possible, although looking unlikely, that I might be moving out of this house in 9 days' time. I think that's unlikely. I think I'm moving. I really hope I am, because I don't want to be filling these shelves back up again. I'm going to look like a right chump if I have to do that. But it's not going well. And if I do look annoyed tonight, that's why. So, happiest Beatle moment. You're talking about your own personal moment here, yeah? One of mine was recording all 6 Beatles films on video from BBC Two, Christmas 1979. 6. Just give me a moment here. Hard Day's Night, Help, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine, Let It Be. What was the other one? I'm probably missing something really obvious there. What was the other one? Happiest Beatles moments. Anthology was just such an immense time. I think Anthology for me, because I kind of felt vindicated as well, because I'd got into the Beatles about 7 or 8 years before that. Nobody else, none of my other mates at school were remotely interested. I was I was out on my own here. And I kind of felt vindicated that I'd chosen that path to go on. Yeah. Hi, Sean. My question is, if you had to do a solo Beatles compilation album, what would be your opening and closing songs? That's a put you on the spot kind of question, isn't it? Well, I like compilation albums that are chronological. So whether it's artistically or not the best song to start an album with, I would want to start with, if I was going to pick all the songs that I think deserve to be on the album, what's the first one likely to be chronologically? It's probably going to be Cold Turkey. So I would do it for that, just for that very logical reason. What's going to close it? Oh, well, again, for a similar reason, I would think... I don't think anything off Ringo's last EP would make it on for me, but I might have something... I'd certainly have something from either Egypt Station or McCartney 3 on it. I might finish it with something like Despite Repeated Warnings, maybe. Possibly. But that's only because I would be a strict chronological kind of person. There was Anthony, yes, I did. There was a programme on BBC Two the other day about the impact of new wave of Beatles fans when Anthology was released. I did get a friend of mine sent me a link to that yesterday, so I need to get around to watching that. But that should be a lot of fun. It's on iPlayer, isn't it? I've got a link to that. Did we find out what that 6th movie was in 1979? I don't know if we did. Anyway. Mark says, "Hi Andrew, will you be watching Bob Dylan's live stream on July 18th, 10 p.m. UK time?" I have no plans to at the moment. I know Sheffield and Beyond, if he's still around. If he's still around, then I know he's got a ticket for it. I may do. It might be a late decision. Talk of the devil. I was just mentioning about that. A friend of mine sent me a link yesterday to that programme, and here he is, Dom Beresford. Hi Dom, how are you doing, mate? He sent me the link yesterday to that. I haven't watched it yet, Dom. I'm going to watch it very soon. Graham says, "Did I buy the Triple Egypt Station album?" Yes, I did. It's that one's not out. I've got one square of albums still out here, but that was the Explorers edition, wasn't it? Yeah, it's packed away. I've never opened it. It's still sealed. But yes, I did buy that. I didn't buy the suitcase thing though. That was a step too far for me. It's 10 to 10 already, folks. That's surprising. It's gone quick. I put out a question today on Twitter. I just said to people, what album do you expect you've listened to most often during your lifetime? Got some interesting answers. I got a lot of the things that you would expect to see. I got a lot of Abbey Road, White Album, Pepper, Dark Side of the Moon, that kind of thing. But one that intrigued me was, because it was kind of really bigged up in the reply as well, was an album called Parachute by Pretty Things. I've never heard that. So I listened to that today. And it was Marty Hopkirk on Twitter. I don't know if you're here. I don't know if you're here. Hello if you are. But I did listen to it. I told him that I would listen to it. I've got it on Spotify. And that was interesting. It was very much kind of like the backing felt very much like the Kinks of that era, like Lola Powerman album kind of backing. And the singing reminded me, I always judge albums by what it reminds me of. That's just the way that I do it. The singing reminded me of the early blues, before they went sort of pop and mainstream. Slade was sort of very much like a heavy blues band, and it reminded me of that kind of singing. I did enjoy it. I'll go back and listen to it again. It's really well recorded, and I looked on Wikipedia, and the reason why I wanted to mention this, when I looked on Wikipedia just to learn a bit more about it, it said that it was recorded at Abbey Road from September of 1969, and I thought, well, I wonder whether, depending on which studio in Abbey Road, if they recorded it in Studio 2, for example, I don't know if they did, then it could be that might have been the next album to be recorded in that room after Abbey Road. Maybe. And I found that interesting. Maybe nobody else listening has, I don't know. But I thought that was quite interesting. So Pretty Things Parachute is a good album. I did enjoy that. I'm going to go back and listen to that again. It certainly reminded me of a few things. But that Abbey Road September 69 bit intrigued me. Excuse me. Martin says, Andrew, who is your 3 favourite bands of all time? Number one's fairly obvious, isn't it? There's not even any point pretending number one's anything other than the Big B. And I'm not going to say the Quarrymen and, the Nurk Twins, because that would be silly. So let's go. The Beatles, Oasis. Number 3 favourite band of all time. I'm probably going to have to go on a very personal level here. Above me there, House Martins. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, there's no way I'm saying the House Martins are the 3rd best band of all time. They're not. They're clearly not. There's a long list before them, but in terms of my favourites, I'm having the House Martins there. Very personal reasons. Interesting. I've just started reading out a question, then I saw who asked it, and it makes a lot more sense now. Mono vinyl box set, Bob versus Beatles, which has the better sound quality? Thank you, Stuart. So, yes, I mentioned earlier I was round at Stuart's house on Friday night, and we played... What did we play? We played a couple of songs off the Freewheeling from the Mono box set, and it was incredible. It really was incredible. We did Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, and A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. Absolutely magnificent. And to be honest, there's probably not a lot in the Beatles box set that matches that, but they're two of the very best. But if you take those two of Bob's and Boots of Spanish Leather, which I know we both love as well, compare that to stuff in the Beatles mono box, like some of the stuff that's on Rubber Soul, Paperback Writer, Yesterday in mono is amazing. Then it's like pretty equal. Overall, I would take the Beatles. But some of those highlights in the Bob Dylan mono box set are just astonishing. They really are. Fantastic. Mark says, do I like any Van Morrison albums? I like Astral Weeks. I like a fair number of his songs. I bought like a greatest hits, and there's songs like St. Dominic's Preview, Bright Side of the Road, various other things that I really like. But I've never explored any other album of his other than Astral Weeks. I like some of the Them stuff, like Gloria from earlier on. But he's just a Burke and he puts me off. He's just not. They say there are two types of people in this world. People who like Van Morrison and people who've met him. He's a bit of an idiot as a person. But he's a great musician. And it's weird because you get something like Bright Side of the Road and it's just one of the happiest songs you could ever hear. And he's so miserable. Their own admission, House Martins weren't even the third best band in Hull. No, but they were also the greatest band ever to come out of that place. So, I just love the House Martins. Andrew, what do you think are the 3 Beatles songs you've listened to most this month? I don't know, but do you know what? I could tell you. I could find out. I don't know if any of you use Last FM. I'm just going to my Last FM page. It logs everything that you listen to. So everything that I listen to goes through iTunes. Even if I play something on vinyl, I play it through iTunes in the background so that it gets recorded. So I can actually tell you, if I go to my top tracks over the last 30 days, is there any Beatles in here at all? There probably isn't, to be honest. I haven't listened to much Beatles at all lately. I can tell you that the song that I've listened to most over the last month, according to this, is Lady Day and John Coltrane by Gil Scott-Heron. And then we've got a bit of Liam Gallagher, Paul Weller. There's a lot of the Kinks in my top played songs recently. There is no Beatles. There's some McCartney. There's the Pretty Boys from 3 Imagined. The Pretty Boys remix is in there. I like that. There is no Beatles whatsoever in that list. You see, I do listen to other music, folks. Talking of 3 Imagined, that's something I wanted to mention because I've got a question for you all. It's coming out. The physical release, I think, is the 23rd of July, so we've got about 3 weeks to go. What do you think about the fact that it came out a couple of months ago or so on Spotify and other streaming services, and then we're going to get the physical versions? Has anybody here been put off buying the physical version because there's been such a gap and you've kind of had your moment with the album? Do you think it's been a good way to do it? I'm sure they didn't want to do it like this. I'm sure it's been some kind of a logistical, probably manufacturing COVID style delay, like a lot of things on vinyl at the moment. So I'm sure it wasn't their ideal way to do it. But what do you think about, has it put anybody off? Has anybody even cancelled their physical order because you've had your moment with the album and it's kind of finished now? So I'd be interested to hear what you think about that. I've got the vinyl, one of the coloured vinyl and the CD coming. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been listening to it quite a bit. I did see a few things that I wanted to just go back and answer. Andrew Galvin, I think my 2 most listened to albums would be By the Way by Red Hot Chili Peppers or Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by Flaming Lips, with Abbey Road just behind them. I saw Flaming Lips at a festival about 15 years ago. They were on just before The Who, and that was quite a show. I really enjoyed that. Sean says, do I ever listen to Tom Odell? I don't. My daughter was a big Tom Odell fan a few years ago. I remember doing Dad's taxi duties to take her to Tom Odell gigs. Good Song says, do you feel we need a couple of Nick Drake album box sets soon? 5 Leaves Left, definitely at least. I mean, if there's anything that they can get to put in the box sets, then brilliant. I'd love to hear more that might. I don't know how much there would be in the vaults, because I'm guessing he didn't do sort of 20 takes of everything, or maybe he did. I don't know. I did listen to, again, because I've packed them all away, I would normally have just gone and grabbed an album here that I want to talk about. There's one called Made to Love Magic, it's kind of a compilation album, but it's more things like, it's songs that you know from his other albums, but maybe versions that they were working on in the studio, like maybe they'd done a version that had a bit of sax on it or some strings, and then the final version they decided to mix that out. So it gives you the versions with it in. So it's all stuff that was recorded at the time. That's really interesting. And the last song on the album is called Toe the Line. It's a beautiful song, and it's really sad because at the end of the song you hear him put his guitar down and just rest it against the wall, and you hear that, and the notes tell you that that's it. That's the last thing he ever did in a studio before he died. He played that song, Toe the Line. You hear him put the guitar down, and there is no more Nick Drake ever in a studio, because that was it. He was gone not long after that. So you know, if the stuff's there and it's of good enough quality, I wouldn't want it just for the sake of. I don't want to use that cash grab word, but you know, if the quality's there, then I'd love to hear more. I'd love to hear more, because he was such a talented person. He really was. Andy Murray is now holding up the BBC News at 10. Right, I'm going to change my approach on Andy Murray now. I would like to say, please don't tell me the result when it finishes. Please. Because I'm going to go and watch it once I'm done here. Like I say, I'd put it on to record, so I'll probably get myself to about 10 minutes before now and watch whatever happens. But I just worry that it's going to take too much out of him. I don't think he's got the stamina to win it this year. Yeah, no good outtakes, maybe a remix. Yeah, I don't. If it's good enough, then I would like to see it. Paula, can I get your opinion on the George documentary a few years back? I presume you mean Living in the Material World, the Martin Scorsese documentary. I thought it was fantastic. Went to the cinema to see it. Sat through all 3 hours of it in the cinema. Absolutely loved it. Bought it on Blu-ray as soon as it came out. I've watched it several times since. I think it's beautiful. There's parts of his career that I wish it maybe went into a bit more detail about. I'd like to have seen a bit more talk about sort of All Things Must Pass album, and maybe sort of Cloud 9 and all that kind of thing. But it was brilliant, and it's always worth going back to and watching again, definitely. Sean, I've answered your question about Tom O'Dell. I don't know if you went to the loo or something for a minute, but I did that a few minutes ago. They left out the My Sweet Lord lawsuit. They certainly did, didn't they? The chiffons, He's So Fine, which, yeah, I mean, there's no way that George hadn't heard that song. I mean, it was maybe subconscious, but yeah, it's you can see why they thought that he was stepping on the toes. Robbie, good luck in your 10 days isolation. Glad you've tested negative. I'm double jabbed now. I've had both, so I'm hopefully safe. We'll see. Don't be complacent. Don't get complacent. A lot of people didn't like it because it focused too much on George as a Beatle. Would like to see more solo stuff. Yeah, I mean, maybe it could have even been longer, couldn't it? It was 3 hours, but you know, it could have even stick an extra hour there of George solo stuff in, and maybe split it into two. So yeah, I think there could have been more. Oh, you did leave the room, did you, Sean? Okay, yes. Well, you can always rewind and go back and rewatch it, but I did answer your question. This song is all about. It was all about the court case, wasn't it? I like the video as well, set in the courtroom. That was really fun. One of the fun songs of that particular era for George. Yeah. So, Folks, I've done my hour and a little bit more. It's been fun. Thank you for cheering me up, distracting me, because I'm not having a very good time at the moment. And I really hope that the next time I am videoing, that I'm not in this room, I am finding it a struggle to do my normal videos at the moment, just because of the fact it's difficult even just setting up and finding time to do them at the moment, because I'm trying to pack the house up in case I'm moving and I don't have much spare time, which is kind of why I've stuck to live streams at the moment, because I can do a little bit of planning in my head around it, but then it's this hour and then there's no other kind of time constraints. When you do a proper pre-recorded video and all the editing, that can easily take up 10 hours of my time doing one of those and editing it and getting ready. These, I hope they're a bit more interactive anyway. I don't get to interact with you as much on the filmed videos, the ones that are filmed in advance. So I probably will be doing mostly live streams at the moment, just until I get myself sorted. I did mention as well, there was on the last live stream that I did, it was mentioned about, did we want to do a All Things Must Pass listening party? Or was it a World Cup? I think it was a World Cup of All Things Must Pass songs, that was it. So I am definitely going to make sure that I do a live stream towards the back end of July. I'll do other ones before. I'm not going to be off now and not back until then. I'll do other things, but we'll do a live All Things Must Pass World Cup, where you get to choose again. And I've got some ideas of how I can make it a bit fairer, because, and I've got things to say actually now. I reviewed the live chat of that last video. There was some contentious decisions. Well, there was one main contentious decision, and I think it was, if I remember rightly, it was Across the Universe versus Let It Be, where I gave the nod. It was very close, and I gave the nod to Let It Be. And then it looked like Across the Universe had actually won when you really counted it up. I found so much cheating in that for people who were doing multiple entries, you naughty people. And I can tell you now, Let It Be did win that poll. Across the Universe looked like it won because people were doing naughty multiple votes. I found a way where I can kind of get around that. I can limit you so that you can only post once every something like 30 seconds or a minute. And I'm going to do that on that All Things Must Pass World Cup, because you're a bunch of cheats and I hope you're ashamed of yourselves. I'm only joking, but you were cheating a lot. Anyway, I'm waffling now. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning in as always. There's been loads of you again, which is brilliant. Don't tell me the Andy Murray score, because I'm going to go and watch it. And take care, everybody, and I will see you again very soon, hopefully in a different flipping room to this. Goodbye.